Welcome to Dependable Flame, where we explore vintage petrol lighters, ashtrays, tobacconiana, and other useful mechanisms. Make yourself at home. Today we are going to attempt to right a wrong. I got a question on the repair video for the Ronson crown, which the mechanism for the Ronson crown is identical to this Queen Anne, which is also the same mechanism as the Ronson Adonis. But I got a question from Lisa Gallagher saying that she had taken the lighter apart and couldn't figure out how to get it back together, and that when she was watching that video on the crown, that I had the parts off screen when I put it back together. And I went back and looked at it, and sure enough, I make mistakes in these videos all the time, and occasionally I do get called out for it, so thank you, Lisa, and I don't mind providing a clarification here. I did dip those parts off screen as I was reassembling them. And as you can see, I made the mistake of not pulling the Flint spring screw. So there's your Flint. Go ahead and pull this Flint spring screw out with the spring along with it. That should have been the first thing we did, so there's another mistake I made. But the purpose of this video is going to be to show how to reassemble this mechanism, which, as I said, it's the same as the Ronson crown, also same as the Ronson Adonis. We got the gears that go along the outside there. We'll go ahead and set those down. Now the part that I was reassembling, which I dipped the parts off screen while I was doing that, was the Firewheel and the clutch spring. So here's your Firewheel. This one is a little dirty. Typically I would clean that before I put it back together if I was doing this to sell one or to use it. Because today we're just showing you how to reassemble it, there won't be any need for that. Sometimes you will have a clutch spring that has an arm going extending out from it, but a lot of times you would just have one that's flat along the top and there will be a cutout. In that case with the Ronson, every time that I have put one of these back together, the cutout always goes to the back. You can test that out by setting it on there and twisting that and seeing if those teeth on the side of the wheel engage with the clutch spring, which you can see here as I turn that it is. So all you need to do, and this is the part that I dipped off the screen in that original video, and as I said, thank you, Lisa, I appreciate you bringing that to my attention. I'm glad to provide the clarification, and I'm actually kind of surprised that nobody had brought that up before. But here is your Firewheel and clutch spring assembly. Just fits right over the top there. And like I said, you can test it, see if it's engaging, which this one is. Once you get that put back together, then you will take your snuffer and you're going to put both of those, slide them right up into Like I said, you've got a flat piece there, so you want that flat piece right along the top of the snuffer. There, we got those together. And another question that I get all the time is how to do this without everything just falling out on you. And the key is, I'm kind of semi-looking down at this right now at an angle. So it's going to be a little bit difficult with the setup to show you, but you want to hold it sideways. If you hold everything sideways, this one fits snug enough that it might not all fall out of there anyway. But typically, if you'll just hold it sideways, then everything will stay where it needs to be. Gravity will help you. If you have to, even lean it a little bit toward the top of the snuffer. Sometimes the gears are a little bit difficult to fit in there. Other times they just fit right in. There we have that gear on top. Turn it over. We'll place the other gear. And this is a little bit tedious. Small parts, kind of difficult to hold together. But once you get it all together there, then you should be able to hold it with your thumb and your first finger. You want to get this timed properly, which can be a little bit of a chore, but not too much. You can see the way that it rides. You want everything to be straight along the top, and if you get it a tooth too high or a tooth too low, then it won't work that way. You may need to get a pick or screwdriver or something to make sure that you've got everything centered. And then your fulcrum screw right down through the center there. Turn it over. Replace the fulcrum cap. And then you should be able to tighten this down tight enough while holding it on the other side with your finger, and on the back side here where the cap is what you're actually going to tighten down with the screwdriver. So that is snug down. Maybe a little bit too snug. We'll back that up just a little. There we go. Now, if I can locate my Flint down here on my work surface, a little bit hard to see with all those colors. Get our Flint, put back down, groove side down. Flint spring and screw reinstalled. Go ahead and strike it to make sure that the Flint is grooved sufficiently enough and that it's not going to bind. And then you tighten it on down. Usually you can tighten it down well enough with your thumbnail, finger, whatever you got handy. We won't usually require a screwdriver. But you can see we have sufficient spark. I'm not planning on using this lighter, so I'm not going to fuel it up. I hope that our buddy Montas Chabibulinas is not watching, because that's really going to upset him if he is. There you have it, reassembling. Hopefully I kept all the parts on the screen this time. Reassembling a Ronson Queen Anne, Crown, or Adonis automatic lighter mechanism. Until next time.